Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the Muslim Real Podcast. I'm your host Ismail Howell, and we are back with a very, very interesting topic today, dealing with the issue of black Muslim leadership, the lack of, the need for, and how do we inspire the next generation of Muslims to be excellent Muslim leaders. Now, from my conversation with some of the revert brothers, they're not happy with the current situation. They are seeing stagnation within their own communities, while at the same time seeing other communities developing at pace and thriving. But when they look to their own leadership, they don't feel inspired. They're not optimistic about the future. So what I thought I'd do is bring together a group of brothers who I find have achieved in the field of leadership, are inspirational, and we can have a conversation as to how we can change the dynamics about Muslim leadership within the black community. So without further ado, I have with us the one and only Dr AbdulHaqq Baker, and we're going to have a conversation about this topic. Bismillah, assalamu alaikum. Doctor, how you doing, brother? Listen, I tracked you down. You know I'm always running you down for a conversation. MashaAllah, you're a busy man. And I'm starting this conversation with you because of our history, our time together, and also from my perspective, you're an achiever. And the reason why I say that is I see you doing different things within the Muslim community. You don't stand still. And that's something that we need more of within the black Muslim community, because at the moment, from what I see, they need inspiration, they need direction. Leadership needs to be improved, because the vibe I'm getting, they've seen other communities doing very, very well, and they're seeing stagnation within their own community, which is why we need to speak about this topic of black Muslim leadership. Now, Mr. Baker, let me just talk for a little bit, just to give you the monologue. Let me just say, so you understand where I'm coming from. We know that a masjid is a very, very important building within the community. We know there are different people coming in through that door. People have mental illnesses, people have got trauma, people have come from prison, people need friendship, people need to get married, they need a job. People don't just come there to make sujood. Do you understand what I'm saying? That divergence of community needs to be managed. You need to manage resources, you need to manage people, you need to have an inspirational community to help people grow. It's not easy. The point is, as we know, this thing is not easy, but it takes leadership in order to move forward and to grow a community. It needs strong leadership, because when you're working in an inner city environment, you got people who have got big trauma, big issues, and they need solutions. And if we don't have the solutions, the next day it could end, it could go left. So it's not just about saying, oh, it's a nice thing to have. It's an essential to have strong Muslim leadership that you can help guide your community through the many social issues that we are finding. The word on the streets, the young brothers, they're not happy, right? And they need strong Muslim leadership. So let's have this conversation, and we get into the topic of, I will introduce as to why I chose you, for example, for this topic. Now, first thing I would say is you're someone who's always busy. You've moved around the world, you've been to different places, Saudi, the Khalid, you're back in the UK, but you haven't been stagnant. You've always done something, all right? Why is that part of your characteristic, AbdulHaqq?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Jazakallah khair for introducing what is a very important topic, Ismail. One of the first things that I learned coming to the deen, and this was from our teachers, yours, mine, Sarat Abdul Rahimahullah, Sheikh Suleiman Abdul Sabor, Hafizahullah.
Great
It's
men, great men.
absolutely. And we came, as you know, to the Deen with a particular mindset and energy. If you remember how we were as some say it's a gang, but friends, a group of friends, and we were always looking to represent. But what was it we were looking to represent? It was each other. We were there for each other. And these two, and as we progressed in the Deen and found a role model for the first time in our lives, remember, many of us didn't have role models. My first role
Yes.
model,
We
my
never
first
had father figures.
exactly,
Yes.
my first role model was and remains Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
And seeing from him, and then from the support and mentoring of the two I've just mentioned, leadership is service. Leadership is service. Not leadership is power and ego, and therefore look at me, which is unfortunately an understanding that many have in our community and elsewhere. So leadership is service. So for myself, it's what can I do to represent, uplift, facilitate, and walk that journey with my community,
So,
because we
so
can do
one, so
better.
one of the important aspects is being on the ground, being seen, being at the forefront, mixing with the people, so that there's not a distance between you and the community. Is
Not
one of
being
the
aloof.
aspects of great.
Yeah,
Not that's an aspect of great leadership.
not being aloof. That's right. Not being aloof, being there, enduring the trials that they have, enduring the tribulations they may have, and the tests and the joys. As you know, Ismail, as a leader at Brixton, when some of our community members were having children, and there may have been challenges at the hospital, we showed up in droves, not to cause problems, but to show that support. We were there in really important times, from the birth of a child to the death. We were there in between. And leadership showing up, being there and listening, being attentive to your community and providing and facilitating for your community, that's the essence of leadership. And if we're talking in the business world as well, working in corporate entities and the jobs that I've done, and you know me and the brothers and sisters know me for this, if you
Yes.
can open the door to bring them in and their
Yeah.
mindset is correct and let them go on that journey of development, and you support them in that trajectory in the corporate world, that's also an aspiration that you should have as a leader, as an employer, director, whatever it may be.
Yeah. There's an important point that a good leader, other communities respect him, meaning he's easily approachable, doors open for you. You're not even at the door, man open the door for you. Do you get what I'm saying? I found that was a characteristic that you had, that you was able to go into certain places that other people couldn't go because who you were, your presence, your education, how you presented yourself. So good leadership, people would see, or other leaders will see good leadership, if you get what I'm saying. And I found that you was able to do certain things because of your presence, because of your character, that till today other people haven't been able to do. Now this is not about, as I said, this is not about bigging up AbdulHaqq Baker. I'm just
No,
talking what he was able to do, what the reality of leadership is, what it needs, and if you was able to do certain things, then yeah, you got to get your flowers. And other people should be able, by now other people should have been able to do better, is the point. We're 30 years
absolutely.
on, we're 35 years, nearly 40 years on in the game, and not in the game, in the Deen. We should be doing better, and this is the point that the young people are saying, that we haven't been able to replicate a better situation what other communities have,
They've been
right?
prevented, mate. They've been prevented because what I've seen, and they've been prevented by our peers. Sadly, we've moved away from the model and the goodwill that we had in the 90s. And I remind you, we said it in the last podcast that we did, only very, albeit briefly. When I was elected to be chairman in Brixton, you remember there was a big furore, not about me being chairman, but the whole process, and the non-Salafi community had got together because they were not happy with our brother who was there before me. And when I was nominated, I said, they've put a gun to my head because I didn't want it. As you know, you were the first individual from our Salafi brothers. You weren't even, I don't think you were in London at the time. You were out somewhere, maybe on work or whatever. You called me. I remember you called me because you heard from our peers, our brethren and everything. And you said, AbdulHaqq, I support you in this position. And again, I say Jazakallah khair to you, because I was thinking, Ismail's the only one who said this, because what happened is the usual trend that has continued from them is like, oh, if we don't get our way, let's split and set up our own thing. This is what we unfortunately do. From that particular point there in the journey with Sir Abdul Malik supported me, Sheikh Suleiman Abdul Sabor supported me, the first thing that I felt that was very important was we have to live what we say we are upon. Okay, we're upon the deen, and we've got to listen to others in the sense of advice, not just what we were doing, listening abroad, listening to scholars, that Arabized mindset which we all had and everything like that, which was problematic. But the point was, some of the elders recognized something in me, went through discussions amongst themselves, and through the arbitrators, they chose me with regards to leadership. And I want to say this very quickly. As an owner, one of the co-owners of Brixton Mosque, I'm the youngest one. There are 4 of us.
Yes.
I've seen amongst the younger community, there's some serious talent, some serious knowledge.
Yeah.
And I want to have a succession plan to hand over the baton. So do the other, there are the 2 other trustees that are with me. Unfortunately, one isn't, but the 2 other owners who are with me, we want to hand that baton on. I've been getting calls for years, Ismail. And when I've made the odd stance, it's like, well, AbdulHaqq wants the seat back. I never want that seat back. I think Allah has allowed me to progress beyond, to look at wider Muslim issues, not just Salafi, wider Muslim issues, and to represent. So for me, those young brothers you've been speaking to and the disgruntlement they have is justified. When an individual, brothers called me, 2 brothers called me the other day, they said, AbdulHaqq, you've come up a few times in that conversation. Just want to call you to get some of the historic perspective. And we spoke about some things. And one of the brothers said, we as a generation have been felled by the elders. And that hit me. I was like, SubhanAllah, you're right.
I mean, there's 2 things I'm going to tackle. One, we are the elders. We are the elders, right? So to speak. So we should feel some responsibility for that.
Right.
Second point is, you mentioned a point about the Arabization. So there was a period of time where, due to a lack of Arabic, due to a lack of connections, and this is one of the points a couple of brothers have brought up, is they're tired of having to rely on other communities for their development. Right?
Yes.
It's about time they should have from within their own communities, doctorates or people who are at a certain level in scholarship and business and funds that they can go to, rather having to go to other, because they feel they have to go to other communities with their begging bowl. And the point is, without even thinking about it, the other communities are saying, rah, you ain't even got that yet. You know what I'm saying? You ain't even be able to establish that yet. Why are you coming to me with begging for that? So there's, and I'm saying these young boys, I feel it, I'm feeling it. They're definitely feeling it as to why we ain't got this and this and this.
But
right?
Ismail,
So,
you know what's important
and
there?
it's not one thing I want to just get across.
Okay.
It's not about necessarily passing the bucket on to other problem. It's a us thing. It's a us thing. We have to have the conversation.
Yes.
We have to up the limit, the expectation that we have from each other. Right? If you ain't doing that, then what are you doing there? And man should say, yeah, right, I'm gonna step off and come true. People are not living up to expectations. People have, because they're looking at this community over there and say, right, they've got that. Why ain't you got that? And if you don't have the ability, if you respect your community, you got to do the manly thing and say, you know what, we've got to increase, we've got to better our leadership, we've got to change, or you've got to step down. So if we're not willing to accept that we need better leadership in the first place, you're stuck in it. You're going to always be at zero.
Right. And
So
Ismail,
the
yeah,
conversation has to be, we expect better from each other by now.
right.
That's the point.
And
We
yeah,
expect
you're
better.
absolutely right. And let's look at our community,
Mm,
what we have achieved and have lost in some instances.
mm-hmm,
I became chairman. I was elected chairman in January 1994,
mm-hmm,
and I'm not blowing my own trumpet here. In 1998, we owned the building.
mm-hmm,
Okay, we became, and this is from other communities who've since told me this, the first black convert-led community owning its property
mm-hmm,
in the history of British Islam
mm-hmm.
and Europe Islam as converts. Okay, we
Yes.
were the first. Our elders were the
Mm-hmm.
first to start a housing association, Muslim housing association, as Shahada. Let me just finish quickly.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
owned that, okay, um, and that grew.
Mm-hmm.
Our sisters, some of our wives, started Ikra Independent School. Okay, Aisha Abdul Malik, Sarat Abdul Malik's wife, was one of the sisters at the helm of that.
Mm-hmm.
We were trailblazing in these, and Brixton Moss. We trailblazed in these three areas.
Mm-hmm.
Ash-Shahada is no longer in our hands. It's now held by a South Asian who came in and basically gradually brought his own people in from the UK and families from abroad.
Can I comment on this?
Ikra, yes, sure. Ikra Independent School. When I heard from, and it's our brothers are still there, but Ikra School is
Mm.
now an outstanding school, mashallah,
Yes.
tabarakallah. When I
We
heard
have
from
to give a tip. We have to give a tip box to Ikra School
a
and those
tick,
brothers
that's
who have done very well.
alhamdulillah. But however, our community, had some community members said we can't even get our children into that school anymore.
Mm,
Our
mm,
Shahada's worth 50 million now. The only
mashallah.
thing that's still in our hand, and even around that,
Mm,
there's an issue, is the mosque.
mm.
So we've got to ask ourselves, we were trailblazing
Blazers, yes.
at that time, okay,
Mm.
and there's just been a stagnation and a demise to where we are today. And so the
Okay.
question is right to be asked from our youth to say,
Yes.
what's happened?
I will just say I think that Al Shahada issue is the what's the word I'm looking for? The ideal, not the ideal, is what I'm talking about. Because we weren't able to hold on to that organization, we lost it. And
Yes,
do we now have the ability to hold on to an organization like that and develop it to a £50 million? Or do we have the caliber of managers and leaders? If someone said to you, man, start up a housing association, can we manage it? Or do you have to get the South agents to come in again and manage it for us? That's the
very good
question.
question.
So
Very good
by
question.
now, we should have had the caliber of leaders, of academics, of educated people that can manage a housing association, manage a school, etc., etc., etc. And if we say, okay, we don't have it right now, we have to build to get that. You get what I'm saying? Because
Mm.
otherwise, we're going to have opportunities, we're going to get them in our hand, and we're going to lose it next day because the community is not educated enough to hold on to those necessities to build a community that you can actually provide. Imagine you can have housing for your Muslim community due to your locality and your demographics. The
Right.
council said you're in need of housing. There you are. That's why That's why the council gave it to the brothers, because they saw them as a growing community. You're in need. There you are. But they didn't have the management skills, so they had to bring the next man in, and the next man said, "Cha, let me bring my family in," and
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah. That's
So
right.
we have to be we have to be able to we have to be at the level, the community has to be at a level where we can manage our institutions for ourselves.
But our younger generation, Ismail, a number of them have got the
No
qualifications.
doubt, no doubt,
A
no
number
doubt.
of them have gone away and studied, but
Yes.
it's still being frowned upon by some of the elders. And one of the embarrassing things that is very rarely spoken about, but the youngers have spoken to me about this. When
Mm,
the elders, they come to some of the elders, they did in the beginning, they don't now with some of us,
mm,
where they thought they were being mentored, but
mm,
then when they realized that the elders were saying, invest in my projects
mm,
and it will grow. And basically,
mm,
they were just seeing the youngers as a money scheme. Okay, that wasn't mentoring. And
mm,
the same problem. that and wall that our generation were coming up against. Not all of our generation, because we mentioned those who are running the school. There are others amongst us as well who were academically astute and qualified and went and got those qualifications. Ismail, let's be clear. When others say, oh, AbdulHaqq's academic, and they sort of say it as a sort of dislike, it's obvious he's going to go that way. Ismail, you and me go way back. When I came to the dean, I didn't have an MBA, okay? When I came to the dean and was on dean, I didn't have a PhD.
Yes.
But what I saw in the community when I was elected as leader, and I felt I need to be a better leader, I need to understand not just the dean aspects and the guidance from the scholars in that regard, I need to understand academically and professionally how to lead and have those tools to lead. So I went and did my MBA in education. And I was bringing that back to the community to the shura, the management, to say, right, we need to think about these things, and it's in line with the prophetic model.
The deen, yes.
So
The fact, yeah, I'll say, but the fact that Islam is transformative, that you need to make dua for knowledge,
yes,
right? You have to read.
yes,
So what we should all take from Islam is that we should have many PhDs,
we should.
so that you have the knowledge to transform yourself and transform your community. Like, it should be adi. Like, yeah, we've got 15 PhDs in the community. Not that the dunya rests or your akhirah rests on having a PhD, but what Islam is transformative. It's a dawah that makes change within the
Scholars
community.
have done that.
You,
Ismail,
you,
scholars do it. The
yeah,
scholars even come to the UK.
and
That's the irony. We were being
yes,
told, and sadly, we went for that at that time, at that formative stage that I talk about with
yes,
my development model. Scholars were, I think we were wrongly advised in some instances.
wrongly advised.
Don't go into education. Don't go into. Then we saw the very same shuyukh studying in our universities
Yeah,
in Birmingham,
sending their children here to study.
children to study, but telling us we shouldn't work because it's a mixed
Yeah,
environment and we
yeah,
shouldn't study. Now, alhamdulillah, the younger generation are not on that now. Alhamdulillah, they're not actually on that. But where are those of us supporting them and showing a pathway for them to chart to say, right, this is where you need to go with your qualifications, with your professionalism in the community. Sadly, those who have presented themselves in our community setting have been rebuffed and pushed back each time. For those who are in position, and this happens not just in our the black community, we see that across other communities. You have people in leadership who are unqualified and unfit to be in those positions. And because they don't have anything else going on in their wider lives, they've got no professional outlet, they've got no academic outlet, they've not really achieved anything. They've just cruised in life. And Qadrullah mashallah, that may be what is there for them. So they hold on to a voluntary position in a mosque for dear life, because that's the only status or visibility or recognition they get, even if it's bad recognition, but it gives them power. And that's what our younger generation are contending with.
yeah. One of the points you raised is what we was told by others, or at the beginning of the dawah. Obviously, the scholars were coming over, and they didn't know our situation. And maybe the ideal situation is, yeah, you got to go to university where it's single sex, but we're talking about England here. So we took our dean from scholars, mashallah, they gave us Tawheed and Sunnah, fantastic. May Allah reward them all for their efforts. And they were beautiful individuals, but didn't have the ilaj, didn't have the cure for our unique situations. Where people were coming from prison, people need to get their lives turned 180 or 360 back into work, dealing with trauma, dealing with sisters who come out of abusive relationships, managing people. We needed certain solutions and we didn't have them. We just said, all right, all you women just stay in your house, all you men go sell incense, right? And that was it. No one was saying, brothers, get yourself back to uni, get yourself a trade. Let me give you an example, right? In regards to marriage, we had this, and we all fell for it. Yeah, well, sister, what's the dowry? Just give me a Bakari, brother. That's all I need. You get what I'm saying? We just say, I think many marriages broke up because the man wasn't able to hold his part of the bargain. There was frustration, this and this and this and this. So it wasn't like, because now, if a man ain't coming with a few grand in his pocket and he ain't a tradesman, he's not married my daughter.
Mm.
So why is it that so our expectations of brothers coming in the door has to be higher for to lift up the whole community. Our expectations from the men, primarily the men,
Mm.
that right, you got
Also about
papers,
maturity, right?
what you doing?
That's right. What you're saying is absolutely right. But you know what aspect that we haven't discussed, and I'm
Go on.
reading now, and from an American experience from Dr. Frederick Malik.
Mm-hmm.
But we've got to look at our spiritual and emotional intelligence and growth in
Mm-hmm.
that regard as well, because many individuals who came into the deen may have had relationships before we came to the deen, but there are
Mm-hmm.
many who didn't. Okay,
Yes.
and as we said, we come from single parent families, and so what is the understanding we have of relationships? Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm not an expert in that, and I won't speak about it, but I know that many of us have made a lot of mistakes, and what we felt we were doing in being rigid on understandings of the deen and
Mm-hmm.
these are my rights and those are your rights and whatever, some of that could have and definitely did amount to spiritual abuse, where we
Yeah.
were browbeating our partner. It could be from
Yeah.
the husband as well, thinking that we were speaking to them about adhering to the deen, when really
Mm-hmm.
what we were doing was abusing them, using weaponizing
Mm.
aspects of the deen. And
Yeah.
that language hasn't been there, that the spiritual gaslighting and all these things here, just to quieten our partner, our wife, our
Mm.
husband in that particular regard. So I feel that there was no infrastructure, no mechanism
Mm.
within our community for us to be looking at how to nurture relationships. We may laugh and
Mm.
scoff at, oh, when the wife and the expectant wife is going to classes and her husband goes, and we're doing those deep breathing exercises, and but
Yeah.
they're good because you're actually bonding more with your wife and everything. You're going through
Yeah.
something together. How many of us do that? If we just throw a hadith and no, the woman must be like this and the man must be like that, and the rigidity that's there, applying
Mm.
this without the spirit of what the deen is
Mm.
something that greatly impacted us, and it's generational as well. And
Mm.
I would say right across to how we marry, plural marriage, everything like that. And I'm not being
Yeah.
apologetic, Ismail. You're speaking about leadership in that regard. And if we can't lead our homes properly. I had a brothers contact me. Yeah, okay, I've been divorced. I got divorced the other day. Find me another wife. And I've just said I don't know anyone. And the brother's like, you're a bit harsh, AbdulHaqq, and clinical with me. And I said, I wanted to say to the brother, I know what happened in your last marriage and everything. I know how you were in your last
Mm.
marriage.
Mm.
What, you think it's just like that click of fingers and then I put another sister in front of you and the same? I mean, do you understand what I'm saying? That goes
Mm.
for all of us to look at ourselves. Remember, we're told a brother is a mirror of a brother, a believer is a mirror of a
Yeah.
believer. So leadership starts in the home, and
Mm.
many of us, and I'm not saying I'm free from that at all, but
Mm.
many of us are not standing up to what leadership means as it relates to our family circumstances, our children. And it's not just providing the finances, it's showing
Mm.
up all the time. Okay. If we can't do that in our home, if we
Mm.
can't do that in our work, how are we going to even think that we can lead communities and lead our younger generations forward? They're just going to inherit the bad examples that we're giving.
Yes. Yes. I mean, what comes to my mind is, obviously I've probably said this to you before many times. We was put into positions, or you was put into positions early, way early, because obviously through time you get maturity. You've had experience in management positions. Now your brain is clued up, it's clicked. I've been here, I've been there. I know how management should be. Not that I'm a perfect man, but I understand management. I understand leadership, um, and we need to now implement certain things. Mashallah, as I said, you've gone through the ups and downs. You've been around the world, AbdulHaqq, and you're back, and you're back in the grind now, and you're back busy. What are some of the projects you're doing now, and what projects you think could benefit from what you've seen the black community here down in South London?
Exactly. So when I returned to the UK after being abroad 20 years, as you know, when I left, there wasn't a single food bank in this country. So I came back and saw what I saw, and then took up that position as CEO of Green Lane and saw the state of their food bank. I said, no, we need. If that was me, how would I want to be treated? So I started a new concept, really kitted out the container in Green Lane, called it the pantry, where the
Yes.
individuals could come and have
Not
that.
food bank. It didn't like. It's not a food bank, so it doesn't look
That's
degrading,
right.
kind of thing.
You're walking into a five-star surrounding, as much as that could be, of a shop. You can
Yes.
pick up what you want to. You can check out for free with the bags and everything. And you can do that once, twice a week, depending on which food bank. So then when I left, after I left Green Lane, I thought, I want to do this, not just for the Muslims, but I want to do this societally, because
Yes.
there are people who are working who can't make ends meet. So I started what I called the hub. And the
Yeah.
hub, you've got the Arabic, the other way around, the hub, the love. So I started my first food bank in Quinton, a predominantly white area that's just recently been voted reform. And we've got non-Muslims coming in, white Britons,
Yes.
and it's on mosque premises in their car park. And they're actually
Okay.
absolutely loving that. And the Muslims as well are coming. So that's one project that I've done that I intend to expand. The other thing that I'm doing now is working with National Zakat Foundation. We've got some really qualified individuals from all religious denominations in the Dean. And
Yes.
I'm the head of community engagement. I'm leading a program where we're going into cities. We're currently doing it in Birmingham, and it's called Structured Communities. And all we're doing is bringing together particular entities who don't ordinarily work together, getting them to identify across the city what challenges, what opportunities, what threats, and then leading with the strategy. Say, right, what strategy do you want to employ to tackle these areas? Making sure that the council and all the other statutory bodies are aware of that, and then implementing a plan where they come together. And these communities know of each other, Muslim
Yes.
communities, but they've never worked in this space. Now, let me say something quickly, and I'm going to stop. In the past, and it still goes on, the internecine fighting that takes place and disputes amongst all the communities, this one's Deobandi, this one's Salafi, this one's
Yeah.
Sufi, we're going to stay in our own corner and everything like that. The question is, have we all implemented the prophetic model of civic engagement? And the answer is no, because we're all looking at Aqidah. I can't work with them because they're Sufi. I can't work with these ones because they're Deobandi, or these ones are Salafi and everything like that. Now, I sat with Sheikh Wasiullah Abbas in his home, and I sat in Sheikh Rabi's home when I was pushed into the spotlight with regards to the terrorism, 9/11,
Many
everything.
issues. Yeah.
The UK was fighting and saying it needs to fight extremism and radicalization. And the
Yes.
Muslims agreed with that. So I asked them, I said, that verse, ta'awunu ala bir wa taqwa, wa la ta'awunu ala ithmi wal udwan, work together in righteousness and piety, but do not work together in righteousness and sin. I said, does that only apply to the Salafis? Because we were thinking you can only do that with the Salafis, and you know we don't all get on. And they said, or does it apply to a wider societal context where
Everybody.
we're, and he said, it applies to apply, what else will it apply to? So when I looked at that from the shuyukh, and I said, subhanallah, I'm okay to work with even a different religion if it means, let's say I choose
Non-Muslims.
under threat. Yeah, they're under threat, the curriculum, everything like that. And you've got Christians and you've got Jews say, we don't like this policy from government. And we come together around that issue. If we understand the prophetic model of civic engagement, we can achieve a lot more as Muslims in that regard. And that's not happening, Ismail. So my thing is, in the work that I'm doing with National Zakat Foundation, I'm in those spaces. The work that I'm doing with the Hub Food Pantry, I'm in those spaces. And I was recently asked by non-Muslims to lead what is the Black Policing Charter. This is the first of its kind in the history of Black policing Black communities. So what am I doing? I'm leading and steering group, and I'm having meetings with universities and other partners to say, and communities, we're going to bring together a set of protocols. And some police forces have said, we will abide by this once we've looked at it. A set of protocols on how the police must deal with Black communities.
Yes.
And it's going to take a few years. We started, I'm leading on that. And if that works, it's going to spread across the country. If pressure's put on by government, that other police forces take it up. There are 5 pilots. So these are projects that I really believe in, because Ismail, you and me know we were together. We know how we've been mishandled by the police, and they've been.
Yes.
So
And
these are
and how
projects.
you made enough money from them.
Well, I won my case. Yeah, here we go. Ismail. Remember that. And that's a,
Mashallah.
yes, won my case,
Yeah.
beat the case, and then sued them. Yes, alhamdulillah.
Yeah. You know what is I'll just come to my mind, like we need 1,000 AbdulHaqs.
No, no,
Meaning
I will tell you,
we
you need
need,
to know what relax.
meaning from coming from the streets, or the urban environment, educating yourself, and then getting into spaces where you can now benefit your own community. Because when you're dealing with councils and politicians and the police, and they say, okay, AbdulHaqq, or it could be Abdullah, what can we do for your community? How can we implement? But how does that door open if you're not educated, if you're not linked in? Like, so my vision, or what comes to my mind is, if you're living in a community, your aim is to progress up the ladder, to open certain doors, to meet with certain people, and then you'll be able to change policy. You'll be able to speak with counsellors. Our community is in need. What can we as Muslims do to help civil engagement? Okay, we can have, as you said, a pantry. But if we're not progressing, if we're not thinking to be leaders and have people with PhDs and masters, how are those? And we don't have the skill to manage our own
And
institutions,
businessmen,
right?
yeah.
So I don't say, when I say, well, I want 1,000 AbdulHaqs, I'm saying I want individuals that have the same mindset and skills and better skills to be able to open certain doors and work in certain places that can then trickle down to benefit the community.
You know
But
what that
there's
requires,
only
though?
one. Why is only one AbdulHaqq? There should be 100 by now. Is my
But
point.
you know what's not? Do you know what's a stumbling block for us? And that, I understand what you're saying, Jazakallah, and that's really complimentary.
I'm not saying, yeah, we need to duplicate AbdulHaqq 1,000 times. No, we
I
just
hear
need Dr.
you.
Abdullah, Dr. Muhammad, Dr.
Yeah.
Ahmed, Dr. Fareed from the Black Muslim community. That's what I'm
we,
saying.
we've got to, what's got to happen, which is happening amongst us. We are all worried about what people will think about us, at the perception on us. There's not the selflessness where, if I'm moving into leadership, it requires sacrifice. If it means that adverse publicity is going to come, but you're standing up representing the community. I know what I'm talking about, because you know I face that. Okay.
Yeah,
And my
yeah.
was, do I look at my name and my reputation, or do I look at that of my community? Okay, when I saw the community scared after 9/11, and the sisters and them taking off hijab, and after 7/7, and then, as you know, that spontaneity after just doing innocently an article, and the media converging onto onto Brixton Mosque, and standing there and representing, to the best of my knowledge, with what we'd learned over the years, that we know that we're not upon extremism, and to speak about that. But then what comes after that? If it's, oh, what's my reputation? Is my name damaged? What's happening? We've got the examples of the Anbiya. We've got the examples of the ulama. And if we are really going to represent and step into the space of leadership, we've got to put the egos aside. We've got to put that concern. We're not going to be gung-ho and foolhardy, but our name and how we look goes to the bottom of the pile. What is at the top is representing the deen, representing the community, and preserving their reputation and well-being. And then what comes to you after that is what Allah has decreed in that sense, because Allah is the one who humiliates and Allah is the one who elevates. And a lot of us are externally referenced. What are people going to say, even with who we associate with? Ismail, you know that. Oh, if Ismail associates with AbdulHaqq, he's going to be written off. And this is a culture and mindset that has set in amongst our Black community. It's there in other communities, but it's set in amongst us. So what happens is we don't respect leadership. And I'll pause at this point, Ismail, for you to speak. But remember, in the 90s, when I was elected, we saw an era that we haven't seen the like of before, that was before our time and since our time, where there was a unity and support. Remember, Ismail, we shut down the foyer of Brixton Police Station when we stormed it. When I said we're not going to pray, they've come into the mosque and they arrested one of our individuals. We stopped, prevented a riot when they arrested one of our individuals, and we said we're not standing for this. And there was physical confrontation with the police. Now, I'm not saying that to boast and everything like that. What I'm saying is, when it came to getting law and order, and that melee broke out, and all I had to shout to the brothers, "Assalamu alaikum," everyone to go back into the masjid. This will be sorted. There was that discipline that we had, even when we stormed the police station, to say, right, alhamdulillah, they've released the brother. I came back upstairs with him. Station commander had reversed his charge, and we left. And when we had the community dinners, and we were bringing non-Muslims in, and we were engaging, there was that sense of unity. There was that sense of brother and sisterhood. We cared. Remember, we were running all over the place late at night, helping individuals and things like that. That's gone. That's gone, but it can be revived because the younger generation want that. Some of them said we were little children when this was happening in the community. Others said we heard about that. Why is that not taking place now? Because leadership is not trickling down any of that before, and leadership is not concerned about the community. They're more concerned about, again, how they look and avoiding criticism and rebuke.
I'm going to say, if I look at certain things what happened historically, obviously yourself, you went abroad. Some people went to Saudi to teach. Other people got in certain projects, obviously the Ikra school. So there was of like our generation, everyone got on with their projects. The masjid then was handed down to a new set of administration, and they did whatever they did. My point one is, we take some blame, some responsibility for not having a continuous chain of leadership, or a what's the word I'm looking for, interaction with the community, so that we're still monitoring what's going on, we're still linked in, we're still saying, okay, we should do this. You get what I'm saying? There was a bit of a break in the chain because people went abroad. People said, I'm done with this thing, I'm going to make my business. So
that's correct. That's correct to an extent.
There's that responsibility. Yeah.
It's correct to an extent, but not fully.
Yeah, I'll get you.
Continuity.
Remember, I was abroad, so I don't know the
You
ins and
were,
outs, right? So I'm just saying what from what I see, right?
Yeah.
So the point now is, and which is, I say, is my gripe, is that there are capable young revert brothers in the community that are not being taken advantage of. There seems to be a block, and when I speak to the brothers, they're like, I don't know, and I'm like, what's happening? There cannot be another generation of a lack of development. You just can't. It's like people got to wake up and say, yeah, right, step aside. I can't. For me, I can't believe it.
That's a good point. And as you said,
believe it.
You said this in the earlier part of today, and it was an important point. We've got to know when to step aside. Now, when I resigned, I've been trying to resign for a few years, but when I resigned from the operational management aspect of it, I wasn't forced. There wasn't pressure for me to go. In fact, when I said I can't do this anymore, I'm out in Saudi, it's too remote, my resignation was rejected. Okay. So we've got to know when we have to step off. Okay. We've got to, and that's something that is prevalent across all communities. And it's like we see that this is almost like we're mini Africa. You know, the African leaders, you can never get rid of it.
Let go.
They don't want to let go. The power's too sweet. We're in that situation now. And it's not enough to then say to others, no, come and join us. And then basically to mute them. They can't do anything because now they're part of you. They've got to follow your lead, and you just give them little scraps and little things to do. No, they need, if we look at our current leadership within our local community, and if you want to look elsewhere, we can. They're too old, they're unwell, they're unqualified, and cannot take the communities forward in this 21st century context. Yet you've got skilled, excellent, sharp individuals, not all of them qualified, but who have that basira, that foresight to know what needs to be done in the generation. Because if we don't get these younger brothers in position to lead and to support them, we're going to be gone one day.
Yeah, we're
They're going
soon
to be
gone, brother.
battling
We're
with
soon
the younger
gone.
children. They're going to be battling with the younger generation who's going to be looking at them and said, "You've neglected us while you're
You,
working
you,
your things out," and it's going to be a perpetuating cycle.
you know what the sad thing is as well? It's not like the brothers are not trying. They're here, they're waiting. And you know, the brother said he just wait. He spoke to the whatever. He said, right, he's waiting for the phone call. The man don't ring him back.
Look at that, Ismail. Do you know what? You know when the
No,
brothers,
no. I mean, it's funny, but it's not funny. Like,
but you know what
right, at
may
least
happen?
this man got talent. He got talent. He got talent.
Hmm,
And I'm like, wow, what's going on, brother? Like,
hmm.
it's you now. But man, not even ringing back.
Ismail, do you know one of the things, the
So
conclusions that some of the brothers are coming to, and it's sad, but they're saying we will need to have another Black Sunday like you lot had in 1993. Yes,
okay. Okay, what I'm saying, I get it. We
and
might come with that
let the viewer know what
conversation.
1990 Black Sunday was, Ismail, because we remember that. Alhamdulillah, there wasn't violence,
Yeah.
but we know there could have been when things transitioned. That wasn't when I was elected, it was just before. I was elected in 1994. But they're saying because that when we've got leadership that won't move, they're
Okay.
getting validation. When leadership gets validation, and not just the Black community, other communities, the mosque is full on Friday, Ramadan is packed. But it's a mosque. That's going to happen. That's not validation. Okay, that's not when there's no transparency financially, which all charities and all masajid should have in that instance, that should be taking place. When you're pulling moves that people are unaware of, like starting new charities and trying to appropriate, transfer property into, well, I'm giving examples, and this has happened in other places. When these
Yeah.
things are happening and they become normalized, individuals will either say, "We've got to take over in this way," or "We've got to go elsewhere," as you've seen, or they will be attracted. Other communities will attract them, as has been done, because of their talent, but they will never really, in actuality, belong to those communities. It's not. I've worked with
Yeah.
other communities. I've made millions for Arabs, Egyptians, Pakistanis, you name it, Sri Lankan. I've made millions for others, and that's one of the reasons when I came back, I said, no, I want to do what I was doing in the beginning. It's time for me, with all the skill set that I've developed, to bring all of this back into my community. But when the community has set the bar so low, and I'm saying not the community members, but those who should be opening the doors for others, who should be saying, take the mantle now. It's time for you to take the mantle, the baton, to move on. But that's not happening. We're going to be in the circumstances that we're in at the moment.
I mean, there is a lot of frustration, and people are saying, "Cha," right? They're just saying, "Cha, I'm doing my thing," right? So in that regards, irrespective if it's with a particular place, let's just park that to the side. The environment that Black reverts are in, new Muslims are in, there has to be a space which is inspirational. I.e., you come through the door with whatever baggage you have, and we're going to try as best as we can to clean you up and set you on this path of education, of development, of getting married and having a family. We're going to set you on that path, and that path is created by the brothers that are around, the leadership, the Muslim community. So
Like what
you got to
happened
have,
to us, no. Like
yes,
what happened to us.
you got to have strong leadership, setting examples, strong men in the community that say, right, look at my man, I respect my man. Then when new Muslims see this particular individual, how he carries himself, he's now an example. So then everyone kind of falls in line and says, right, I got to pull up my boots, I got to get myself a job, go back to school, retrain. I'm now a electrician, a plumber. I've got my masters, I'm a teacher. That environment has to be created outside. Can it be created outside of a formal structure? right? Because we're always hoping that the masjid will take a lead, but in reality, it can't. So that structure of, okay, we're reverts, we're on this ladder and we're developing and we're going to work together to establish institutions that the community needs. Right, my man's doing his PhD, he's doing his masters. We create that environment around us. How can that be created? And this is the big question.
I
Outside
think
of a formal structure, how can that be created?
what needs to happen, and I'm going to go a little
Or maybe
academic.
it's a parallel organization. I don't know, the Black Muslim Leaders Association, for example. Right?
There could be that. There could be that. But if within our communities we understood when individuals came into the community, I'm going to refer back to my 4-stage cognitive development model. One, we need to know those who are coming into the community. Where are they? Not only from a dean point, they might be at this first stage, the early founding stage. As you know, there's the founding stage, there's the youthful phase, there's the adult stage, there's the mature phase. They might be at that founding stage as it relates to dean, which most of them are going to be. But they
Yes.
might be at any of the other 3 stages in their professional, academic, lived experience. So we've
Yes.
then got to say, okay, he's at this basic stage, but what skills can he share within the community with others around him if he's at a level that is ahead of or more advanced than them in that particular regard? So that's regarding individuals coming into the community, identifying what stages they're in with regards to deen and dunya, and accommodating those, having a program or having a direction to steer them in or to signpost them to others who can take them under their wing or direct them to organizations or entities that can deal with that. But also, Ismail, we have to understand in those 4 stages where the community is. So, for
Yes.
example, when we came into power in the 90s, I would say we were at that stage 2. We're at that youthful, abstract understanding, activity, dawah, wanting to change the world in that particular instance. But we didn't have anyone except 1 or 2 who were not Salafi at the time. They learned their Salafiyah via us and the scholars we brought in. We didn't have anyone at the mature stage that can steer us to show us the direction that we needed to chart. So organizationally, the organization needs to be ahead of the community members
Yeah.
with regards to its developmental stages, with the strategies it's deploying and what it's imparting and sharing with the community. You can't just have, and this is happening, unfortunately. Before, there were many complaints amongst the South Asian community that the khutbahs just weren't in English, and second, third, fourth generation spoke English. If we look in our communities now, some are saying, oh, you can't give the khutbah if you can't speak Arabic. Okay. That's one thing. Also, the khutbahs are only about spiritual aspects. Remember, as you said, this deen is transformational. The Sahaba lived Tawheed. That changed. That brought down the infrastructure of a superpower at the time. The Quraysh and Makkah. It brought down a superpower. That was Tawheed being actualized, being lived,
Yes.
being implemented.
Tawakkul.
Are you with me? That's not
Yes.
happening now. Just giving the khutbah and talking spiritually, and then everyone goes home afterwards. And some will feel, okay, I feel good, I've learned something new or whatever. But how is the teaching of the mosque, of the community, galvanizing, mobilizing its community? How is that happening?
Meaning, from where you are, you want to see change in your community. You should have an impact in your locality, which
Right.
means you have to have individuals who are going to be working with the local community, whether it be with the people who are, who are poor, on the food banks. Maybe you got this drug abuse, mental health. So, you as Muslims should be able to have some impact. You should be
That's right.
outward looking. Like,
Yes.
what can we do for the people? What can we do for the? And then you're gonna have to have skills, people to go out and interact with the local. It shouldn't be inwards. I think that, and there are examples that people always quote. People always quoting them, and I don't want to say them. People know who you are, like, and they just feel like, right, why is not happening there? And it's quite sad that people will say, look, see what the man is doing over there. Why ain't their man doing that?
That's right.
Right. So, people are just saying, people are saying, I'm just getting on with my own thing. But I'm saying
But what? No. What?
the lost.
Yeah.
I'm saying the goodness. What the point is, I'm trying to get at, it's the goodness that is being lost and wasted, that they can do so much for themselves, for their hereafter,
Mm.
and can do so much good for the community that they're living next to, and that is just lost because of what? Which I'm just trying to understand. Like, what are you holding on to? Why ain't them
Right.
brothers doing what they're trained to do and they're professional and they can just turn this thing around? Why not? Um, I can't answer that question. That's for other people to answer.
There is
But
hope. There is hope, Ismail, because the fact
yeah,
that the young brothers are having that conversation, the fact
mm,
that they are more qualified than we are, the fact that amongst them
yes, yes,
learned
they're more
more
qualified than
Arabic.
we were, definitely.
That's right, and they've learned more about the deen and everything. What
Mm,
needs to happen sometimes, and I'm going to say this frankly, and it's sad, but it's something amongst our communities that we've seen, and it's a legacy of us as black people in the West. Sometimes, and I'm not calling for for violence and overthrow, but sometimes change has to be forced even from the perspective of the voice. Remember, enjoying evils with the hand and the tongue and the heart. At the moment, too many have been holding it in the heart because they've tried with the tongue and they've been battered back each and every time.
mm,
But I think now the younger brothers who are speaking, the younger sisters who are speaking, need to start coming together in a series of meetings, showing what they can do. Don't have any community structure or place in mind, but
yes,
showing skills that they actually have and what
yes,
can be done with those skills. And also for our brothers who've gone into other communities and the other communities are benefiting from all of their skill sets and everything, but yet they are still not a part of those communities. Those brothers
mm,
need to, and those sisters, let me come back into this space. Let's identify these like-minded brothers and sisters. Let's start having a conversation about what do we have in our hands and what can we do with that. If they say we're going to go to XYZ communities and say you need to move, this is the skill set we've got and we're going to move, go ahead with that, they should do that. If it means they say,
mm,
you know what, let's just get ourselves a house or a center to rent and we start building in that way, they need to start doing that. Because
yes,
if they stop and stand where they are now, we're going to lose another generation who are going to look at the parents and say, what have you done? You know, what
yeah, yeah,
generation we can't keep using, and it's there, inherited trauma, inherited poverty, scarcity
mm,
mindset. Yes, those things have impacted us. We
mm,
are not like the traditional African communities. They've got a legacy of Islam they can connect back
yeah,
to. We are unlike the South Asian communities and the Arab communities. We started here, Ismail. Tell me the
mm,
forebears of yours, apart if we go all the way back to slavery and we can connect with any of our forebears who were
mm,
Muslim. It started with us. And
yeah,
where we are now, I agree, is not good enough.
mm,
But there is a way and there's a hope because the younger generation, our youngers, are
mm,
really talented. Our youngers
yes,
are not running to catch up with other communities with regards to intelligence and ability. Okay.
mm,
And some still are, but most are not being
mm,
tokenized and looked at tokenistically in the
yeah,
society that they're in. We need to encourage them to keep having the conversation, but now mobilize that into action.
yeah. I feel definitely they got the skills. They're ready, but they're like, someone make use of me. You know what I'm saying? Like, call me. Like, what do you need from me? And the man's not even. No one's even calling him. Say,
So
"Chill,
we'll put it, I
I'm gonna
put
take
it out
myself
there
over here."
now. I'll put it
Hmm?
out there now. I'll put it out there now from myself. If a group of younger brothers and sisters, they want to do something, yeah,
Mm,
they've got ideas, they've got skill sets and talent and everything,
mm-hmm,
I'm happy to sit amongst them in an uncle advisory capacity, but not
mm-hmm,
just talk.
mm,
Start opening doors when I see that, as I believe I have done in the past with
yes,
others, opening doors to start
mm,
building in a direction they want to build in. If these other
yeah,
doors, these institutions have still got the diehards who don't want to move and everything, then let's
mm,
navigate some clear waters and I
mm,
will start pulling out the stops that I've got. If I see that they've got that wherewithal and that commitment to moving
yeah,
forward, that
yeah,
just quickly, when I went a few years ago and put the papers down and said it's not good enough in Brixton, and I heard the joke thing that yeah, there was a takeover and there was an attempted takeover, and I laughed because I said, how can you take over something that you part own?
mm,
Yeah, how can
mm,
you take over? But there was no one who had the appetite and energy from the youngers at that time to say, right, we're in, because others were there. Let's change the locks. Let's do this. Let's do that. No one was ready to do that. There are some there ready to do it now. But if that's not happening, don't just sit and wait for that. Let's chart another course. I've looked at, our brothers have brought me to look at other buildings in and around South London and say, let's see if we can purchase this as a masjid. Let's see if we can rent first and foremost. And I've said, okay, let me know how serious you are with this. And I'm going to start opening doors and connections.
I think first definitely needs to be a network, a conversation, putting together some teams to see what projects we can work on. There are some, mashallah, some good projects going on, some charities, people doing some good charity work. And I think those institutions and those charities and those organizations, people will be growing, learning management skills, learning how to deal with finances. And if if people see that, then people are going to say, you know what, there's the keys. You get what I'm saying? We're right there being no argy-bargy. Man, you say, right, then man, you doing that, brother. Here's the keys, and
But we
it's
need
my
to
time to.
identify,
It's my time to. So that's my hope. That's my hope. It's my
and I
hope
agree with
that
you, Smith, but then
those
we need
people that I get 1 second. Those people that have the ability, and I said, there's a brother. Listen, there's some brothers do some excellent work, right? And may Allah keep them doing their work and give them more work and give them positions of responsibility because they deserve it, right? But there needs to be some kind of incubator, some kind of management team that says, right, we can do this in Brixton, we can do that in South London, we can do this over here, and get that going so that there's more people who say, you know what, why don't I just stop at my degree? I'm gonna do my masters and my PhD because I know that's gonna open more doors. I'm gonna be able to be at the head of this particular department I'm working in. I can make change. That kind of thing, getting people going, moving, making stuff, not breaking stuff, but
but
you
you
understand,
said a key thing.
making stuff. Huh?
You said a key thing there to incubate a leader. So what is
Yes.
important now, which, and this is I'd say a request, a challenge, if you like, to our youngers. Identify a handful of leaders, brothers and sisters, and confirm that you're ready to get behind them so they can grow and develop, be supported, be incubated, and they're being actively supported, like I was when I became chairman of Brixton, okay?
Yes.
So that the things you've said, they can start doing and they become a force, even though they might not have bricks and mortars, even though they might not
Yes.
have a place. Because when a tsunami and a whirlwind moves, yes, everyone sees it. And if they don't batten down the hatches, it comes in their direction and it sweeps them up in it. And we need that kind of force that's not
Yeah.
destructive, that is all inclusive, but that leadership has to be clear and identified and selfless. If those individuals are identified, let's support them.
Well, we're gonna find them. We'll identify them. We're gonna highlight them. See, this is my thing. As I said to one brother, I'm the hype man. I'm gonna hype you up. If you got something, I want to hype you up to put a spotlight on the movers and shakers, so that we can so the bar can be raised. Like, right, look at my man. Look at my man. Look at the standard he set. Why aren't there more brothers on that standard or doing better than that? And it's just not, people say, it's not just, oh, this is a PhD. It's not about the PhD. It's about what you can do now in the world, what doors open for you, the skills that you have, what projects you can do for humanity. Do you get what I'm
If you look,
saying?
if you look at what's happened recently, and while he's not, I felt it because of my qualifications. What
Yes.
happened to Professor Jason Arde? Now, yes, there were questions around the PhD, this, that. Remember, he's
Yes.
from South London.
Yes.
Why did they do? Remember, in 9 days, 188 articles were written about him. We've got white racists in America. We've got individuals here. We've got government officials. We've got individuals.
Yes.
The fear of someone with knowledge and power,
Yes.
yes, means that the wider society and infrastructure fear such people. The
Yes.
sad thing is, those who are holding on to power in our communities also fear such people. And
Yes.
so what they do is shut the door to them. What I'm saying, as you know, Ismail, we come from a generation and how we were growing up. We're not worried about doors. We kick off latch. Yeah, we kick off latch. That's all. It's all I've ever known. Yeah, and once the latch is kicked off, we might put a better door back there and fix the latch and say, right now things are gonna be rectified. But we need a strong base of young leaders who
Yes.
are unafraid,
You know.
unapologetic of the haters and what people say. If their focus is is correct, if the task at hand and the objectives are right, and then they need to be buffered and supported in implementing them. I got that from you all when I was chairman. And even
Yeah.
back in the day, remember Jahiliya, how we used to move before we even came to the dean? I got that from you all.
Yeah. Can I just go back? What was the brother who got died? I read about his story briefly. What was the brother?
Professor Jason Arday, okay,
Yes.
he was
I know about his story. I didn't look deep into, but my take from that is everyone should go and get their PhD and be knocking down Cambridge door.
there you
Like
go,
if you've done
there
it
you
to
go,
him, there's the next 10 man behind doing their PhDs and we're coming.
there you go,
Like
there
it
you go.
should it should inspire everyone to say, what? We're all getting PhDs and
Yeah,
we're all coming Cambridge, Oxford. I don't care. And you get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. Now
and that's what I'm saying.
he
Go on.
had he had vulnerabilities and
I get
sensitivities,
you. I get
but,
you.
but
And
we
they just done a hit job on him
right a
to
lynching. It was
say no black man ain't staying in his position.
a digital lynching, was a lynching.
Yeah.
So it's well, we come from a totally different stock, as you know. Yeah, those things don't phase us. It just makes us push harder.
Just go
And
make you go mad, right?
right,
I'm getting my PhD, brother. You
there
know,
you, there you go.
I'm telling you, it's crazy. It's crazy,
A
man.
brother
It's
called me.
crazy.
Yes, but one of the brothers who's finishing his PhD, good brother, very
Yeah.
very respected, and he felt so disillusioned that he was thinking, "What's the point?" I said, "No, no, no, no. You got to
No,
think."
no, no.
I said,
Different.
now
Yeah.
you got to finish this. And I said to him, if
Yeah.
you're struggling, I'm going to back you. Not going to write for him, whatever, but I'm there. Bounce the PhD off to me. Let me read it. Let's have conversations. Let me hold your hand to push because PhDs aren't easy, Ismail.
They're
Yeah,
not
they're not.
easy.
Yeah. So I'm going to be there and just giving him that encouragement in that respect there. And I put that
Yes.
out to the youngers as well. I don't know how many will be out there. If there's a brother, a sister who are doing their masters or doing their PhDs and they feel isolated and they feel challenged and everything like that. Get my details from Ismail. I know one or two sisters as well may be able to help. I know other brothers, but we will help you through this journey because you need to be there. Ismail, you know, it's like I'm standing up on a plateau and the oxygen is few and I can't see people who look like me in this
Yeah.
space come
Yeah.
from my background, and that's not what I want. You know, sometimes the bad mindedness before, yeah, look at me, it's only me. No, chart, it's just
Yeah.
no. My thing is, where are you? Where are my
Yeah.
brothers and sisters from our
I
community? Because
I
we can
think
move more powerfully if there's more of us.
yeah. I think that's an excellent point to end on, and maybe carry on next week.
Inshallah.
Um, we need to have a discussion about education, academia, the importance of how education uplifts the community, the need to reach those levels as a means of changing your society. And it could be just down to finances. Yeah, you got to, rather than just come and say I'm doing this, no, go back to college, get your profession. But we need to have a discussion, a roundtable discussion about the importance of academia and how that can open doors for you in your community.
And
Abdulhaq,
how you
Fadl.
can use the weapon of Western academia, which is sterilized and through a colonial lens. But once
Yes,
you know your opponent's weaponry,
yes,
because you have
yes,
mastered it yourself, you can then move in so many different ways. Not,
yes,
oh, I've made it in this society, but to say, you
yeah,
know what, bun that now. I
yeah.
know where you are.
You
I've
can't
got
trick
what
me
you got.
now. You
I'm moving
can't
in
trick
that
me.
direction. There
Yeah,
you go.
you can't trick me now, and that's so important. People just pull the walls over your eyes with a couple long words that you don't understand, and they think you got you. It's like, no, we all have to
No,
go back to school.
yeah, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? So let's end on that topic, bruv. Let's all go back to school. We're gonna speak again hopefully next week or the week after. We're
Inshallah.
going to find maybe a guest we can bring onto the show to speak about this issue of education and how we need to uplift black Muslim leaders. First thing is education. And yeah, AbdulHaqq, it was interesting. If people have got questions, comments, because we ain't stopping here. We've got a lot of work to do, AbdulHaqq.
We
So
have.
I'm gonna be running you down wherever you are, inshallah, for this fruitful conversation. And hopefully we can inspire new Muslim black leaders, inshallah. AbdulHaqq,
Inshallah.
once again, jazakallah for your time.
Wa
And we'll
ya
speak again
khair.
soon. Assalamu alaikum,
Inshallah.
brother.
Wa alaikum salam.
Okay. That's the intro to this conversation of black Muslim leadership. I hope it was an inspiration, and we're going to build on that conversation. I think we ended on a very good topic, and that's a point of academia and not allowing the wool to be pulled over our eyes in regards to how the system works, being able to fight the system with knowledge, being able to open doors because you're the right man for the job. Yeah, I'm gonna stop there, and I'll see you soon, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.